Sup, creeps, and welcome to the live recording of episode 40, What Dreams May Come. Now, today we are welcoming back the owner of Coven of ScreamsLLC and the creator and curator of Ghouliecon, the premier horror convention of the greater Cincinnati area, Joanna The Supreme of the Ghoulies.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hello. I'm going to steal that too, just so you know. The Supreme of the Ghoulies.
Yes, yeah. Right? She's like, I'm keeping that.
Right.
So welcome back, and thanks for joining me here on episode. Now, kids, if you notice, we are in our jammies, and we will be talking about dreams tonight.
Woo.
A little bit of history, and then trying to go over our reoccurring dream and dissect them. We have been working very hard with that. Now, I've learned, now that I've known you for a little while, that dreams are of an interest to you, and I thought we'd be a good fit for this episode, you know, with our interpretation and to bring it to the Creep Nation here about our dreams. Now, today we are going to embark on a new form of content here at Creepy Confidential. So this is not our usual sit and chit chat. It will be later, but we are going to basically build this like a normal episode, but live and with a fellow creep. So that is very important. So we are filming this episode in front of our live virtual audience here. And just like the usual episodes, this one is researched and written just like usual, only this time I have some help, just like I mentioned. So this will be a two-part episode because we're going to start over the basic information, and then the second part will be covering more of the breakdown and what our interpretations are, and it's just too much to fit into one episode. We're going to be answering questions at the end of the show so that we can kind of focus as we proceed through. But if you have a question, please feel free to leave it in the chat because we'll be coming back to those at the end. Very, very important. So before we get going, I want to remind our listeners to please like and subscribe to our YouTube channels, very important, and social media accounts, so that you do not miss out on content, giveaways, or announcements. We are adding a few extra shows and different segments to help make Creepy Confidential your one-stop shop for creepy content. Very, very important. Go to www.creepyconfidential.com and become a part of the Creep Nation today. All right, creeps, and here we go. So give me just a second here. We're going to go now on to the show. Sup, creeps, and welcome to Creepy Confidential. Is Mothman really a supernatural force predicting impending doom? Did Apollo 11 really land on the moon in 1969? Did you find out if that was a cult that was living just 2 doors down that you waved to every single day when you got your mail? If these are the things you ponder when you should be sleeping, then I would like to welcome you to Creepy Confidential. I'm your host, Noelle, your resident weirdo Wisconsinite. I open case files on my favorite cryptids, cults, conspiracies, and other worldly creepy, with new cases, live broadcasts, and local lore. Some stories have been lost with time. Others are perhaps still happening today in your local communities, right up under your very creepy noses. So get ready, creeps. It's Creepy Confidential. Dreams in our modern world are simply visions that occur to us when we are sleeping. More specifically, occurring primarily in REM sleep, during a time when our bodies begin to do something called rapid eye movement.
Scientists have attempted to decipher these visions for centuries, even millennials. In modern times, books, lectures, and sleep studies spend countless hours attempting to crack the code on dreams.
Long before Sigmund Freud wrote his famous book, The Interpretation of Dreams, during a different era when gods reigned, it was said that a group of gods and beings were responsible for delivering these mental images while we slept.
In the times of ancient Greece, they used a method known as dream incubation as a means of healing and divination.
Hypnos, the god of sleep, born of Nyx, the primordial goddess of the night, donning a crown of poppies on her chariot across the sky. Nyx was also the mother of Thanatos, the god of peaceful death, who was also closely known as the embodiment of death. Hypnos may sound familiar to many because his name is where we get words like hypnotic and hypnotize. His Greek name literally translates to sleep. In Ovid's Metamorphose, the home of Hypnos is an underworld cave, a place that the sun never touches.
Outside of his cave entrance is a spray of poppies and other herbs, but inside is a silent place without animals or trees and not a single whisper of living things.
Within the cave is the underworld river of oblivion, which is said to trickle with soft murmuring amid the pebbles and invite soft sleep. The god Hypnos lies on an ebony couch with jet black cushions, and around him recline amongst dreams. Dreams, also known as oneiroi, were creatures, black-winged entities that appear as visions to a dreamer, taking various forms: human, animal, monster, or object. These various forms were used to deliver messages and omens to the dreamer. Homer, of the Iliad and Odyssey, refers specifically to the land of dreams, which, like Hypnos, his cave exists in the underworld. Dreams, again, may be the creatures and not just visions he sees while sleeping, but are also referred to the visions he sees when he slumbers.
So, which is the ancient poet speaks of, the creature or the state of mind?
Another ancient history lesson is that of the practice of sleep incubation, where a person would intentionally sleep in a sacred place, such as a temple, in order to invite a dream.
The incubated dream could be for a visitation from a god or a prescription for healing. They would also practice sleep incubation looking for oracle guidance on something specific.
Preceding the period of sleep incubation would be a series of rituals up to and including fasting, ritual bathing in cold spring or river water, and making offerings to Hypnos, Menauzine, and Helios, the god of the sun. Other practices include attempting sleep incubation in a sound and light-proof cave. In modern day, we use float tanks that deprive us of sound and light and also provide suspension in water, allowing our brains to enter different waves. Sleep rituals, you scoff. Even in modern day, we perform our pre-sleep rituals. Don't believe us? Let's define the parameters.
Ritual, a religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order.
Every night when you get ready for bed, isn't there a series of actions that you perform? So, in the modern day of 2025, we are still performing pre sleep rituals in hopes of falling asleep smoothly and getting to dreamland as fast as possible. When you lay in bed, trying to relax, eyes closed, you wonder to yourself what dreams may come. We're going to play a little bit. All right, so let's talk about that. Let's see. So, what do you think dreams are for us now that we've had a chance to go through kind of the formal introduction?
So I do personally think that they are visions and a way, because you have to think about it. When we sleep, we are basically like paralyzed physically for however many hours. Where does our soul go? Where does our conscience go? And I think we go to all types of different realms and we are trying to go places that our spirit wants to go and visit.
Okay, so more of like a spiritual sense.
Mm-hmm.
I read something speaking of that when you said, like we're paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
When they talked about the embodiment of death, because that is the closest we can get to death without being dead is sleeping. which I just happened to have come across that.
Yep.
So I kind of think that it's our brain because I just can't help let go of certain things of how I think science wise is that I do think it's our brain's way of trying to organize thoughts, even if it's in a crazy way. But I also, part of me, having said that, as I'm this is a weird example, is I think people or pets that I've lost have come to me in a dream as I'm wearing cremation jewelry of my boy. And when he come to my dreams, I would wake up going, he came to see me. So it's so somewhere, even though I don't, but I do. So I kind of have, I can't let go of some things, and the other parts are like, but I think it's kind of a veil area, maybe.
So I lost my mom like in 2015. I had to look at her memorial card. But she, and I've said this before too, she comes to my dreams all of the time. And the kind of crazy part of it, obviously you're going to dream about people you lost and loved ones and things like that. That's human nature. But when she talks to me, that's the thing with my dreams, is I have very lucid conversations with people in my dream, and she knows what's going on currently.
Yeah.
She's like 2 weeks ago.
Like she's up to date.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
that
interesting.
For me is insane. But then you're like, are you a demon? I don't know.
Well, and I think they also might be up to date because you know what's up to date.
Yeah.
So that is
true.
But I agree. It's like I think I miss him, and he hasn't shown up in a while. So part of me is like, maybe he crossed. He's on different, but that's a whole nother conversation, right?
Right. That's part 2, part 3, part 4. I don't know.
Right. We're gonna keep going. This is gonna be like an ongoing dream conversation here. So the next question that I have is, because now that you mentioned, we talked about dream incubation. I guess a 2-part. Have you ever heard of that before? And have you ever attempted it?
I have not. And the only reason I've not really attempted to go a lot further in my dreams sometimes is because I am very cautious of, if I go too far, can I come back?
Right.
We were talking about Insidious earlier. This is my best friend, y'all. Okay. We were talking about Insidious.
We talk about a lot lately. It's like crazy. All weird stuff.
Okay. And I feel like you do need to be a little careful, because to me, at least, just me personally, that is another realm. That is another place that you can invite things in. You can really just, get lost in it. And I don't want to get lost. So,
for you, it's control. You're not quite ready to let go of, if there is no control, that kind of thing. Okay. So now, how you talked about, both of us have a reoccurring dream that we've had for quite some time, which I think it's cool that somebody else has also, and very different dream, but that it's been going for quite some time. Mine hasn't showed up for a little while. And once I dissected it, blew my mind. So there might be a reason why. How long have you been having your reoccurring dream with the description you gave me?
Yeah, this has been, oh my goodness. It's definitely been over 10 years for sure. It definitely is. It was really when I think my mom passed is when I started having a specific one.
Emotional trauma. Yeah.
And it's like, she's never shown up in this dream though. Which this dream confuses the mess out of me. It's so weird, but it's okay.
It is quite random. When we get there, I like, it is quite random. the era, like, it was, I'm like, oh.
Weird. But it's okay. Maybe I guarantee I'm gonna dream about it tonight. Guarantee, because we talked about it.
I haven't seen mine in a while, so I hope.
Maybe you'll dream about it tonight too. It's okay.
Okay, so maybe we're like kind of stirring up the freshening up
warriors.
The pot.
Ready to up in here.
Now the creeps. No, I have an odd love of all kinds of weird movies. Not necessarily all horror movies, because that's kind of your wheelhouse. But mine is movies that I remember and I will reference for things. Now, I use them as analogies as well when I talk about like my classes that I'm going to teach or how I explain things. Super excited, coming to a city near you.
The Scream team and the Ghouliecon will be there to do that. So tickets.
Excited. Sidebar. but that I use them to talk about these, different
Mm.
discussions. So I have two movies which I mentioned
Okay.
to you. Now,
Yeah.
the first one is The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. Had you seen that one yet?
I have not, but when you sent me like the poster of it, I was like, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was a little while ago.
Yeah.
But this one, if you were into the technology of what they're
Mhm.
doing and the dreams and everything, and it was kind of a two-parter because it was a serial killer type of movie. So in there, they have a technology that's been developed to allow people to travel into people's dreams. Now, they need the technology to travel into the dreams of a serial killer that is in a comatose state in an attempt to try and find his latest victim. The imagery of this movie is insane. Even if you take J-Lo out of it, the imagery is insane. Now, J-Lo decides she's willing to say, I'll do it. I think she's a social worker in the movie. But she is not protected from being killed or sucked into the dream. Without too much spoiler alert, those things may or may not occur within this particular film. Would you be willing to be placed in a mind such as this to help find a victim such as this with no protection, knowing that you could die or get sucked into this person's dream?
Oh, that's a good creep. Oh,
I know, right? It's like I like doing this.
Oh my god, it's like you're good at it or something. Jesus. Oh, so part of me is very much, and it's so funny. I have Yurdi's like voice in my head. Mind your business. Mind your business.
Why can I hear him say
Mind
that?
your business.
Yeah, right.
So, but like part of me is like, but I want to help. But I do really believe if you do not go in there with like a spell or something on you, you are about to be taken.
Yeah. And this is using science. So you've got chemicals and everything,
right.
and there's like a little in the movie, you probably have seen that where she's like clutching her hands like this because there's something in her hand that's basically like a flush, get me out, but even then
it's like who knows what, and the things with the dreams, especially with like Insidious and that, and the Further, if I'm not mistaken, what's it called, they they can, like, you get attack, or they attract to living things. So as soon as you're in that realm, you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and get my plushie.
This is my Vinny. For those of you that are watching, if you're listening at home, I am holding my cute plushie with my black cat with green eyes.
Okay. But I feel like you are automatically, when you're a living creature, like you are gonna go in that realm, and demons, all that people, they get attracted to you because they want that life force. So it's like,
and in this one, he's bad. He's bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So
but if
I don't know if I would.
You should watch. If you haven't, if you need a refresher, I seriously suggest watching it. Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you getting a phone call?
Listen.
A call from beyond, perhaps.
Right. Hold on. It was a spam number, and that actually just scared. This is what happened last night.
Yep.
This is literally what happened.
All my little fun little science experiments are over there in my briefcase.
Oh, this is what happens. Okay.
So I have another wild one for you, and I'm not sure. Have you ever? Now, Monkey Bone is the next one. Have you ever seen this one?
No. Like the monkey one that just came out?
No. This is a Brendan Fraser movie.
Yes. Listen, I love me some Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, and this one, and it's a wild ride.
Wait, I've heard of it though. Actually,
it's weird, super duper weird. Yes, but there are so many references. When I was researching for this, Hypnos is a character that's in there, and he plays this like sleazy underworld guy, he's like a short little goat guy, and he has these creatures that lay on his bed that look like bees, and those are the dreams. And when I first watched it, I did not know any of that information. So let's talk about this one. So Stu.
Hold on, Stu. Scream Stu.
Yeah, another Stu. Stu that's Brendan Fraser's character. Stu is a cartoonist responsible for creating a character called Monkey Bone. Now, he is an artist. Stu's girlfriend is a sleep institute worker who has helped him deal with his nightmares. One night, Stu gets in a car crash and he falls into a coma. Now, he's he's not just caught in his own mind, but
Okay.
he's caught in this place called downtown, which is basically like a land of sleep. And they live and they thrive and eat nightmares. So they want nightmares to happen. The landscape is filled with mythical creatures and figments of the sleepgoer's imagination, including Monkey Bone. So he's in real life in this imagination world.
Okay.
Now, the only way out of downtown is to get an exit pass. Now, Hypnos, sound familiar,
Okay.
is the
Right.
ruler of this downtown, and in order to wake up, he tells Stu he has to steal an exit pass from his sister, Death, who is played by Whoopi Goldberg in the movie.
Hey,
Which is
yes, Whoopi.
before Stu's girl. Now he has to do this before Stu's girlfriend pulls the plug on his life support because he's in a coma.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
because he's been, there for a while. Now, Hypnos' twin brother was Thanatos, aka the embodiment of death. So that's where that comes from. Now, as if that wasn't enough, they are pulled into the movie. Stu's girlfriend creates a nightmare liquid called Onoroi. Sound familiar?
Right.
Called the creatures from the mythology story that were dreams. So they used the actual mythology name and put it in the movie. Now there's a huge cast of people and not a lot of people seem to know about this movie, which I don't know why. And now you should. The movie is nuts, but I really had to mention it. Plus it has Brendan Fraser where he's performing She's a Brick while rocking some leather pants. So I strongly suggest you watch it.
So I strongly suggest you go ahead.
We're here for creepy stuff, but we're also girls and we like weird movies. We're girls who like to boogie. So, okay, I think this is kind of a good jump point. Would be for us to each talk about our dreams. So, I think it's a good part. Now, do you want to go first? Are you ready?
Go first.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. You're like, I want to see what kind of craziness is happening here.
I'm ready because your mind is just as crazy as mine. So we're ready.
Right. Now, I have this reoccurring dream probably started a little bit after I was out of the military. So I'll say somewhere around 2005, 2006. And it's been showing up on and off. However, I can say it probably hasn't shown its face in almost a decade that I can remember.
Until tonight.
Which is, I've been married for a decade. And I think when we talk about what's been happening, maybe that's why. So let's talk about it.
I'm ready.
All right. The environment is wispy and feels like a filter is over everything, but not fuzzy.
Okay.
The exterior of the house appears to be a Victorian farm home from the late 19th century. It's in an open farm plain, kind of a plot of land, kind of surrounding the home. Okay. And it reminds me of like those Dust Bowl pictures that you see from that era. So really barren and this random home like in the middle of it.
Okay.
It always starts with me approaching from the front of like walking up to this home. And I never see the full exterior of the house. I only ever see the front door and then it's a second story. It's slightly windy outside and I can see the kind of silty dirt blowing over the ground and I can see the bottom of my dress and my bare feet.
Oh, okay.
Now, the color of the dream is almost grayscale, but it almost has a slight like sepia tone. It's not completely like gray.
That's a very like Dust Bowl-ish. I know exactly.
Very dirt, very earth, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the color of my dress is the only true color I ever see. And it is to era correct. It does make sense. It is a pale chiffon kind of color and the lilac center. I always, when I saw the dress in the Titanic that she was wearing the night that they struck the boat, it looks kind of like that, but imagine just
so pretty.
Like cream chiffon and lilac, but dirty at the bottom.
Okay.
And it billows from my waist down. And I can tell it's me, but I can't, I don't like, oh, it's me, right?
I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. So I walk up and I grab the handle of the front door and I'm able to push it open. It's unlocked. And when I walk in, there is a grandmother clock that sits next to the bottom of the steps, like where they start to go up. So they're like not the big ones. They're the ones that are a little bit shorter. And I can hear it clicking, like I can hear it ticking. But I can't make out the time, or I am unable to remember what the time says on the face of the clock. The clock reminds me, I didn't write this part down, but I remember the clock reminds me of the grandmother clock that my grandpa and grandma had in their house. And my mom now has this clock because they're in heaven. Mm-hmm. And so I can hear it clicking. Now, once I'm inside, the wind continues to blow the way that it did outside, even though the door is closed.
And you can hear it.
And I can hear it. Exactly. You can hear that.
Oh, okay.
You can hear it on the plane, and you can see a little bit of the silty dirt kind of blowing on the wooden floors. Now, I can hear the clock again, but as I look up, there is a man at the top of the steps in period clothing, matching, but not fancy, but not like house clothes, kind of that semi-formal. Maybe he just got back from getting packages or like that kind of clothes.
Like linen pants, that type of just
right, exactly, but it's dark, like a dark suit.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yep. And he has kind of ear length but wavy hair, kind of like as if it was dirty. You could see, because they didn't wash their hair a lot. Kind of has those waves. And I'm trying to go up the steps, but as I try to go up the steps, it's slow motion. It's like my feet are in quicksand, but the wind still blows at the same speed. Everything else clicks at the same speed, but I have completely slowed
I hate that in
down
dreams.
as I go up the steps.
Okay.
Now, I never make out exactly what the gentleman looks like in his face, like his features. I don't feel that he is a stranger, and there's nobody else inside of the house. There's no voices, nothing. But it's strange because as soon as I look at him, the dream switches to first person to a third person, and it's if someone is standing at the bottom of the steps watching me and my dress go up in slow motion, but everything else continued to move at full pace. This has been happening for a long time, so I have this baby like memorized. As I get to the top of the steps, he's standing there, and I put my hand on his chest, like as if you would like a loving motion. I do the same thing to my husband. So it's like almost, but I can't tell. I don't have a ring on my hand or anything like that. The gentleman takes my hand, and as we turn to continue upstairs, I never see the rest of the upstairs or any other room in the house. The clock is starting to chime, and I wake up.
Whoa. And it's so funny because I've heard that for dreams, nobody is really ever a stranger. Even if you don't know them in your current life, either you have been reincarnated and you know them
like
before.
They came from somewhere. Mm-hmm.
So you know that man. I don't know where, but you know him.
Well, when we get to the explanation, I think we're gonna cross that bridge because it kind of all lines up. This really helped. This helped me work through my psyche. So thank you.
This is actually for me personally. This episode was just for me.
This is very therapeutic.
Thank you so much.
You're like, thank you. I'll send you the bill.
Thank you. You're gonna send a bill to everyone that's viewing right now. You're gonna get a bill. You're gonna get an email.
Yeah.
Creepy Confidential.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
We accept EBT and checks.
Right. If you have cash, just give it to me. That's fine.
Right. Okay, so I'm excited. I've told you my brain here. Tell the Creep Nation about your dream.
See, your dream kind of at least like makes sense a little bit. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you this dream and do not judge me. I don't know where this came from.
Dreams aren't supposed to make sense. Right?
All right. So basically, I always start out in a auto mechanic garage of some sort. I don't work on cars. Nobody works on cars around me. Why I'm at this garage, I'm not sure. But it's never me. I never see me at all. But I know I'm the one leading the dream. So I'm always just, is that first person POV or is that?
If you can like look down and see your hands, that's first. If you're looking from like over the room, that's third.
Okay, so I think it's the first. So, because the funny thing about these dreams too is I've never seen physically anything about me, but I know I'm there. So there's always a door. There's always like people working as I'm going in. They never say anything to me. They just let me go through. I go to the door. The first room is a very bright, cheery, think of like a very bright Airbnb. Like people throw parties at it. It's always got like a pink decor. Like it's just, there's a vibe always in that room of just very happy, very go lucky. There's always people in there partying. Not even like crazy partying, but there's always people in there. The thing with these rooms though, is nobody ever talks to me. I always just go through these rooms as just the motion that I do every day. It's like they're used to me being there. Don't know who any of these people are, but they clearly know that I'm there. So then I go to the second door. This room, nothing really stands out about it. It's a very just monotone, just very general, an everyday living room type of situation,
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you go through the rooms, though, you can definitely tell that the vibe is very much going a little more sinister each time.
Okay.
Because the second room, nobody's really there, but it's kind of like when you go through the door, you're like, oh, wow, I shouldn't have maybe went through this door for a reason. But I don't feel scared. I'm just like, huh. And then I go further into the third room, and this is when I transport to the 70s. Don't know why. There's brown leather couches. It's orange. It's very like wood,
that
orange
ochre color.
Oh, yes, it is very much. I was born in 1990. I don't really know, but there's always, when you go there, that is when I feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be here, but there's danger. Something is in here that wants me to be in here that I shouldn't have been in here for. There's always two chairs, two brown leather chairs, a table in the middle, and it's very much like whatever, to be honest, is inviting me to sit down. I never sit down. I never sit down. I always, when I get to that third room, and it's very much like you have your door in the first room, the woo 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 party room. Then on the side, it's always on the side. Then you go to the middle room that you're like, oh, okay, it's a little bit of a shift. Then you go to the third room, and it's the door on the side. So it's literally like you're just going side to side to side. And I always, as soon as I go inside the room, I just sit, I just stand there and I'm like, huh, I shouldn't be here. And it's always like the first thing I see is just the two leather chairs. It's kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. But the two leather chairs, the table in the middle, and the leather chairs are facing me every single time. They know I'm coming. They know I'm there. They want me to sit down, and I snap before I sit down because I refuse, and I wake up. And I'm like, well,
yeah. Well, and the symmetricalness of what you're describing is very like The Shining, where everything was symmetrical like throughout the whole movie.
I didn't even think about that.
Remember, my brain.
I did not even think about that. But that literally, when you just said that, it's very much on every single wall, like the doors on the same side. I go through it. Everything is very symmetrical. Besides the first room, that is like a party room.
Yeah.
Like everyone always has like Barbie decorations there, which I never told you, but now that we're thinking about the dreams again, it's like, it's always details and stuff. But yeah, like it's literal like party, very pink, very innocent, very childlike, like very youthful. And then my youth just goes away after.
I'd like the farther you get.
Yeah.
That's trippy. Okay. So man, our brains work totally different, and it's awesome.
I love it. But it's
absolutely awesome. Well, Creep Nation, if you are listening to this, you have reached the end of part 1 of What Dreams May Come. To learn about our dreams and our interpretations, head over to episode 40, part 2, which should be located somewhere directly near this episode. So as we continue here on our What Dreams May Come episode 40. We have just gone over our dreams, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Now,
Oh,
I have a couple questions about
okay.
our dreams that we can get farther into. I feel this was the point where I sent you that little where I was like a psychologist asking you questions.
Mm.
So tell me about
Oh,
the
all right.
dreams. You know,
Listen, we got the dreams are just so interesting because
so
it is a
interesting.
window to your psyche.
Yeah, like
Oh,
an actual but it's not perfectly painted. It's like you have to put the
right.
puzzle together. Oh yeah.
Yes.
So first question I have is, did you feel any emotion like you kind of described
Mhm.
a little bit? Did you
Mhm.
feel an emotion during your dream that maintained?
So definitely in the first room, I'm always very much excited. But as soon as I see the door, like it's always like when I very first go in the first room, it's I'm there for the first time and I don't realize what's going to happen. I'm like,
Mhm.
woo, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I look over and say if I'm sitting right there, like I'll look over and I'm like, oh, it's time again. Like I have to go to that room. And then
Right.
I'm not excited anymore. And then as the more and more that we get, like, especially with the chairs, I just always feel very confused, but I feel like my gut is saying, do not sit down.
There's
Something's
something
gonna happen if
sinister.
you sit down. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Now,
Mhm.
now in my dream, I can recall no like heavy emotion. Um, and I can't recall like any sadness or longing. It's almost like it's like the Dust Bowl. It is
Mhm.
completely void of life.
That
Completely
is
void of
such
life.
an interesting like time frame
Right.
that, and especially with how you described it, like I can literally visualize exactly what you're and that's so like that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I
And
love
this isn't something that I wrote down, but something that you might find interesting to put this together. So when I was two pieces part of the puzzle,
mm,
when I was teeny tiny, I will say less than the age of 5,
yeah.
my parents were driving through McDonald's with me.
Yes, we
And you
go.
know how like you're practicing numbers? The story
Yeah.
has been told to me so many times, so now I
Mhm.
remember it. And mom wanted me to show her how old I was.
Yeah.
And she asked, Noelle, how old are you? And I said, 99. And so that would have been in probably like 1989 that I said that I was 99. And I didn't even know that number. And I
Right.
just blurted it out. And since I have been a
I'm 90.
tiny little kid, I have been obsessed with black and white photos. I want to know who's in them. And
Mm.
and I every time we go to great grandma's house, I
Yeah.
wanted to see all of the World War II pictures of family, friends, black and white. I had no reason to know who these people were. I was obsessed
Right.
with black and white photos as a tiny little kid.
So you are reincarnated. Is that
I have no idea.
you
I
are?
got a lot of their juice. Maybe that's what it is. Now, in your dream, you said my question was, were you the only one present? So it sounds like you didn't of the people that you saw, like in the
Mhm.
mechanic shop or anything. Did you see anybody that you're like, hey, that's Uncle Bobby? You know?
No, and that's the thing is like it's always different. It's not different people in the mechanic shop. But like how they act like I'm not there. Or they just act like it's a very nonchalant, oh, like Joanna's here, whatever.
Right.
But when I go into the Airbnb room, it's so freaking weird. But when I go into the party room, um, it's always people I don't know, but they know me because as soon as I go in there, they're just like,
Yeah.
hey. Then it's like, and whenever I start to go towards that door, it's shift. They act like I'm not there anymore. And
That
it's
cold
kind of like,
shoulder
uh-huh.
feeling,
I'm
neutral
like,
cold shoulder, maybe.
I don't know any of you, but all right.
And then can you make up and can you see the faces, or they're just kind of faces like you can't
They're
remember
faceless faces.
faceless
Kind of
faces? Yeah.
terrifying. But I'm not
Same in
scared.
mine.
That's the thing. I'm not scared at all with them. I'm not scared with
Okay.
the mechanic people.
Weird.
I'm scared in the third room.
Yeah, that's the one that freaks you out.
Yeah.
All right. Was there any odors or anything that you noticed about the environment? Like could you smell the mechanic shop? Could you smell the leather? Something
I
like
can
that.
only hear. I could not smell nothing.
No
I could
smell.
hear them working on the cars. I could hear the do 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 zoo 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 zoo. I can hear that.
Okay, so it was modern enough where they're impact wrenches,
Yes,
so
that's
okay.
what confuses me about the third room because I'm like, when did we travel in time? Why am I? What is going on?
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see what else I got here. So, mine was, I guess, the filter. Now, did your dream have any sort of like filtered, or was it just clear?
So it's clear, but it was just such odd color like shifts. From it's not necessarily like a filter. Like the garage was definitely like a Nissan garage, like a Nissan service center or something. Like,
oh my god, I just got a visual.
It was literally just like, hey,
all the times I used to work on cars.
Listen, we're just in a random garage. The room was very bright. The room the first room has always been very, very bright. And then just as you're going deeper, it's definitely darker, but not too dark, just more rich in colors.
Yeah, and do you ever see your face?
No, that's why I never know if it's just me with a memory or like there's no mirrors. We talked about mirrors before, but there's absolutely no mirrors. There's no reflection. There's nothing for me to know I'm doing it, really. I just can see.
Yeah. And I think for me, even though my dream is first person, even when it cuts to third, that like outside view, I have not seen my face in a mirror or water. There was no water, or glass. And even when the point of view, but when I look at like my feet, so I'm an avid gardener, and once it hits summer, I rarely have clean feet. They're gross. But I'm happy, and that's what matters.
Right.
And it's like I knew what my feet looked like.
So you're like, yes, these are my toes.
I have my dad's feet. Like they're long, and like my toes are long. Like,
so you're like, yeah, this is
I'm like,
me.
this looks like me. Yeah. And like the body, when I look down at my legs, they're stocky like me.
Right.
Like they're not these tiny little svelte.
Yeah.
No, I'm
okay,
built.
girl. Yeah, listen, we the Southern girls over here. It's okay.
I look like I'm built like a Midwesterner in my dream, and I can't even see my whole body. Yeah. Something that was interesting when I asked you about the filters. So my dream, the visual filter reminds me, you're gonna love this reference, movies again, of the flashbacks in Twilight where you see them becoming a vampire, like when Carlisle goes back, and it kind of has that. See, I knew you'd love it, right?
Yeah. Robert Pattinson is on my wall right there.
Yeah, you're like, hi, boo.
Hey, boo, hey, baby.
Yes. But that was kind of the first thing that popped into my head was that, like, I'm like, how can I describe it that everybody would know?
Yeah.
And so it's always those like weird period flashbacks. Like that's what popped into my head. Now the next reference is kind of strange. Have you ever seen the movie High Spirits? With Liam Neeson back in the day, where he's with Daryl Hannah. It's fantastic. So it takes place in this castle, and that they have like, there's like a bunch of different groups of people vacationing, and they're at first they start out by trying to pretend that this castle is haunted to bring in people, and then shenanigans take place, and it's actually is haunted. But there's a scene when it cuts to, it's All Hallows Eve. It's the night of All Hallows Eve. And though the castle is starting to come to life, and there's this blowing through the hallways, and you see the big, long tapestries waving in the wind and kind of dust and bits. That is the feel of my dream. For being very scientific, I have like, that's how I remember. Like where I'm very creative, but it works.
Yeah.
And again, it's that kind of grayscale. So we kind of had it. We figured out all the things that are going on, within our dreams. So I'm gonna figure. Let's break our dreams down.
I feel like I'm gonna cry. I feel like this is gonna like unfold.
We're gonna get to the edge of this. Yeah, we're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
We're gonna hold hands.
So how about I have some notes written about mine, and then we'll hit yours after that. How's that sound?
Yeah. Okay. I am interested for yours for sure.
She's like,
Yeah.
I'm here for this. Let's figure this out. So now I tried to look up where I have tons of books that you saw about interpretation. Nothing describes the environment, like where I talked about the dust, like the dust bowl, wispy.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything about that, or I'm assuming barren and things like that, but I couldn't find anything about the environment. But there is a filter, but it's not fuzzy. That's pretty much the only thing I wrote down.
Okay.
Now, the Victorian farm home. I found that old and dilapidated houses denote failure in business or any effort of declining health. So when this started happening, bad mojo in Noelle's life. So it could have been all that, our bodies kind of go into like a weird thing. So that also kind of makes sense. My tremor didn't start until later. My migraines didn't start until later. So it's not like I'm trying to really pinpoint the declining health. Not that it's declining health.
I mean,
issues.
Well, it could have been an omen, like an omen.
I mean, it was there. It was going to happen.
Yeah,
so, but when it did start, that was when I had my first mental breakdown. And I was hospitalized. Yeah. Right. Cheersies. There's nothing wrong with discussing your mental health as long as you make it through and are willing to talk about it. I know we're here about dreams, but that is what I'm about. Side note. So I kind of feel that was my way of saying that the house is dilapidated for a reason. She needs some help, Okay. Now, I'm always approaching from the front and never being able to see the back of the house. Also, I don't think it's like I never walk around the house. So I think I'm afraid to see what's on the other side. I don't know what the back of the house looks like, and I never see the rest of the house. It's almost like the front of the house exists, and then the back of the house just has fallen off the planet.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm trying to work through this stuff here.
Dreams are so, y'all, and if you're not subscribed to Creepy Confidential, I'm going to do a side note real quick. This is why I found her, and I'm like, yes, somebody that actually... There's nothing wrong with being a horror content creator and talking about scary movies and everything like that. Completely, like we have our loves. But when I think of the spooky community, there's so many things that Creep touches that I'm like, freaking finally.
And they're factual and scientific.
Yes. Like I'm able to actually hear my other passions, my other everything in this community. So literally, if y'all ain't following Creep, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here.
I love it here. I do.
And then, so continuing with the environment, that like windy, silty dirt. I was like, it's abrasive, it's barren, it's
right.
This is probably all the different things that were floating around. If my dreams were trying to get in the house, there's safety in the house. And that's why my brain started to do what it was doing.
Right.
Now, the color of my dress, even though it's kind of pale and dirty in the dream, a pale, chiffon, lilac, and cream dress, dark and cool tone colors indicate secrets and some of your habits and attitudes in a sense that you may need to improve yourself. Made sense.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, and? It's like, did you have to read me quite so tight?
You said, okay, and what next?
We all need help. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, ow, ooh.
Right. Ego. Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna need more medicine now. Thanks. Now the clock, there's all kinds of references in almost every single book that I looked at. Clocks come up. So it was really easy to find. Now the grandmother clock that I hear clicking, to dream that you see a clock denotes danger from a foe. If you hear one strike, you will receive unpleasant news. The death of a friend is implied. Right?
Whoa.
So it does all make sense. Danger from a foe. I was with somebody who was doing just that. My safety was in danger, and mentally, physically, again, it's okay to talk about your issues here as long as we get through it. That is not my case now. Not anymore. Which I think that's what we're going to get to about this dream.
We love that.
You've met Mr. Creep. He's
fantastic. We love Mr. Creep.
Now the man at the top of the steps. To dream of a man, if he is handsome, well-formed, and athletic, indicates that you will enjoy life vastly and come into rich positions. If he is misshapen, you will meet disappointments and many perplexities will involve. So this man was not misshapen. He was sturdy. You know, he wasn't tiny skinny. I know I had to read it. I had to put it all down. So for anybody watching and not listening, I have to put all my notes down because this helps keep me, because it was that funny when I was reading it.
I was like,
they would actually write that about a misshapen man. But in the dream, the man is not misshapen. So I was like, okay, I'm following. And then I'm trying to go up the steps, but it's in slow motion and the clock begins to gong. To dream that you ascend steps suggests that fair prospects will relieve anxiety. So again, I'm headed towards the person at the top of the steps, which is a man. My dream point, switching from view to view, I couldn't find anything about that meaning anything in a scientific interpretive sense.
Right.
Now, the gentleman takes my hand and we turn to continue upstairs, but I never see the rest of the house or the room. And to me, that means you don't need to see the rest of the house or the room. The man is all that matters. You know, it could have been a different person for anybody. Right, so now, oddly enough, the last time that I had this dream was about 10 years ago. And 10 years ago was when I married Mr. Creep.
That is so cute. Oh,
isn't that cute?
That's so cute.
So, and not to say that any relationship does not go through craziness, but he quite literally rescued me. And I think this dream was me saying that the world is barren. You need to get out from the silt. You need to go in this house. The clock is ticking. And even though it's slow and you can barely move, you need to keep moving up the steps, girl. Because in a couple years, you'll be fine.
You need to keep going, even if it's rough. Keep going.
Yep. And I think the dream was so old because I also do believe in, I think, our ancestors or somebody that's, for me, I believe in heaven. And I think that if someone up there is trying to get me through whatever it is going on, or a group of them, because I probably have a group of guardian angels at this point. Okay.
She's looking down like, oh girl.
Yeah. They're finally sitting down, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes.
They're
like, she's
like, man, it's been a while. Hold on.
Yeah. She made it. Jeez Louise. So that was my breakdown. Perhaps I read too far into it, but I think that dreams are there for that reason.
I love that. That is so interesting. I love it.
I've had some other crazy dreams that you and I are going to have to talk at. Real quick before I get to you, I have dreamt in full comic strip before, like full track.
But with you,
bubbles,
I feel like it makes so much sense.
But it does make sense. And then another dream while I was still with a previous horrible person. The dream was all black and white, kind of like Sin City style, but a little more cartoony, less realistic. And I am in the streets and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs to get me out. Wake up, wake up. Ooh. And it went on and on and on. And I remember seeing red colors. I don't remember where. And then I woke up like crying. And that happened a lot of times too. That wasn't a one-off dream.
So you're telling me that this needs to be a series?
Yeah.
Because I've had other dreams. Oh, girl.
Yeah. Girl. What dreams may come.
Right.
That's what we're here for. Okay. I have Vinny and I have my tea. What break down your dream. Let's go. What do you got?
Oh my goodness. So I couldn't find super much, to be honest, about mine, but like from what I've learned and what I've just kind of looked at and researched, the beginning of the dream of me being in kind of like the youth and the child and things like that, it's very much like trying to not necessarily avoid something, but trying to avoid it in a way. You know what I mean? Like trying to kind of, what is that word? Acting like it's not there, avoiding it. I'm just gonna say, well, I was trying to make myself feel better.
Right.
But
you're like, we'll just say, yeah.
We're just gonna talk about avoiding. We are. And very much like I don't want to go into the other room, but I have to, because it was very much I have to face something.
Yeah, I felt that too. I understand. I feel that. Okay.
I have to. Now the middle room, because there was not like much to the middle room, like it feels like I'm gonna be very honest. It feels like a waiting room.
But that's a great analogy. Like
Like
there's no juice in there. It's just a boring,
yes.
sterile area.
Mhm.
There's no nothing. Yeah.
Yes, it feels
Just
very
chairs.
much like that. Very much like, okay, it's a transition period from you're accepting whatever is in that third room. Like whenever I was researching and interpreting and everything, the third room was very much, I didn't find anything about the colors, unfortunately. And now I'm not as good a researcher as Creep is. This is my first
Well,
read.
I got books. Should we look it up?
I mean, girl, yes, let's do it.
Okay, hold on. I know we're going off script, people. Wait, I'm attached to my microphone.
But this is the Coven and Creepy Confidential.
Hold on. Hold that thought.
Oh, we're gonna be
For
able
those of you that are listening at home, just stay with us. For those of you that are watching, just stay with us.
Oh, we're gonna be able to see your shirt. Creep shirt lights up, guys. And I need you to see it. But yes, I just want to, and I'm going to give another shout out to Creep again, only because this is the only person that I would be able to sit here and do.
What are you telling the Creep Nation?
I was talking shit. Okay,
okay, that's good. Keep talking.
This is like, you are the only person that I could sit down and talk about this with, and when we can research stuff, and it's just like, again, if you're not following Creep, if you're not being in the Creep Nation, seriously, what are you doing?
Get on board, people.
It's so fun over here. It really
and
is.
Come to our library lectures.
Yeah, anyway. Scream Team will be there. Myself, Nick, and Yurdy. And I believe Craig will be there too. I'm not sure. But we will be there to support our lovely Creep.
Awesome. Tickets on sale now at creepyconfidential.com. They're free.
They're free, girlies.
They are, but you have to have a ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brown.
Yes.
Brown.
See, you got books. I was trying to look on the internet. Ain't nothing. I ain't find nothing.
Need to open a book.
I know. Jesus.
So Brown, in dreams, any shade of brown symbolizes stability and security in your life and connection with the planet and nature.
What? Now, I'm a Taurus. I'm an earth sign. I do love me some astrological and like have it interpreted. Maybe.
Yeah, see?
So, but that's
what's the other one? There's brown and orange.
Yes, orange. Orange was in there. Orange.
This is just, by the way, this is the library book. I have a whole stack of them. This 12,000 Dreams Interpreted, but this big bad boy right there is mine.
You said that's mine. Thank you.
Mine. All right, orange color. Here we go. Orange color. To see the color orange indicates expansion of spiritual pursuits, personal nourishment, and happy times. If that does not fit what you have described to me lately in our messages and communications, I don't know what will.
But it's so funny because I've had this for years, though.
Well, it was trying to push you. Look at mine. It took me how long? Had that thing for like 15 years before it finally went away.
And when I was researching, like I didn't research necessarily the symmetry because I should have. Didn't even think about that until you said it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be a creep right now. Hold on.
See, we're here. This is what we're doing. This is why we're here. And I said, didn't you say pink? Pink occurred. There's pink Barbies, pink something.
Yes, in the very first room. Yes,
in the very first room. See, I love doing stuff like this. And now at the library, they see me coming because I have a canvas book the size of my car. So pink. To dream of the color pink suggests a happy time. That's it. Just one sentence. That's all it says.
And it's always a party, which makes sense. Now, so see, now that we're like kind of diving into it, it's kind of like I may have a more like just thoughts. Because it's mainly Barbie. Now, I was a very avid Barbie goer when I was younger. I still love Barbies.
Yeah. I broke their necks and pulled their heads off.
Oh. I'm glad
I like the car. I'd play with the car. Yeah, that was good.
Said screw the Barbie.
This isn't about me though. Anyway, what's about you?
It's okay. And I know I used to play. Like, it feels like a very much birthday party for myself that I'm having. And I don't know if it's me being a child and my happy time.
Right. See, now we're getting somewhere. So tell me, when you were a child, did you just kidding. Put your blankie in some water. There you go. So party. I found the word party because we said, hey, there's a party going on in the dream. If you dream of attending a party of any kind for pleasure, you will find that life holds much good. Unless the party is an inharmonious one, in case you need to work on your social skills. That's what it says.
They always are. And then for symmetry, what I found is dreaming of cemeteries. I have not dreamed of cemeteries.
I've done that before.
I love cemeteries though. I was when we was down in St. Louis to visit the boys. I wanted to go to a graveyard right across the street, and they were like, "I need you to stop trying to go to graveyards, Joanna."
No, I think they were just worried about you getting out and going to a graveyard in the middle of bad part of St. Louis.
Listen, I was ready. I was ready to be.
You say you're ready, but just be smart.
Listen,
trying to find what this one says. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this one, this is a great book. Ooh. 10,000 Dreams Interpreted. This one, an illustrated guide to unlocking the secrets of your dream life. This one is mine. I got it off of eBay for $3.
Hey, for $3.
I love eBay. Side note, right?
Right.
I'm trying to find what else. So you have Dreams mechanic shop?
Yes, mechanic. I could not find ish with mechanic shop now because I feel like that's such a weird.
That one's a weird one, yeah. Because it's almost then it would get broken into like pieces, like the cars, the mechanics, and
it's just like nobody in my family really like. It's not like I grew up in a mechanic shop. It's not like I didn't do anything in a mechanic shop. But cemetery. My God, no, I'm not going.
You'll get there.
Cemetery, Jesus. But this says dreaming of symmetry reflects a subconscious longing for balance and proportion in one's life. It suggests a desire for harmony and order both internally and externally. Symbolically, this dream may represent a need for stability and the resolution of conflicts or contradictions. It can also slightly signify a quest for perfection or a pursuit of beauty.
That makes sense because that's that's pretty much what that means. That's what we strive for in our features.
And it's so fun because this was kind of a little similar situation to yours, so that makes sense. I was trying to balance for some harmony.
It's like you need some harmony. So mechanic, I found mechanic because there was a mechanic in your dream.
Yeah. Yes.
See, you gotta come to the Creepy Confidential library.
I need to because clearly you need to do an online library.
I'm gonna need a bigger room. To dream of a mechanic denotes a change in your dwelling place and a more active business. Wow, that fits. Advancement in wages usually follows after seeing mechanics at work on machinery.
Okay.
Your bill will be $9.95, and you can send it.
Okay.
So, yeah. See, we found you some.
Okay. But okay.
That fits oddly well. I may not know you like to the nines, but
you don't feel like you do very much now, though.
I've got quite. And now we know a lot about each other with our dreams. It's like a bonding experience going through the drama. Our brains were trying to take us through.
Our drama is
All right. Well, let's see. So we've made it through both of our dreams.
Okay.
With extra detail. I think that. Wow. I think we both need to book more therapy.
I think that we'll just do dual therapy
or just call each other. Yeah.
I'm like, girl, I'll
get the books out. Be like, so tell me what your dreams are doing.
What's up with your dreams? We're gonna interpret. Thank you. Thank you.
So I did say that we would answer some questions because I avoided the comments because didn't want to get but it looks Mr. Creep has been leaving some comments, so he heard us talking about him and in the dream. So we have a couple comments.
We need to go back to emos. No.
And then he says, I don't know, I'm pretty misshapen. He is not misshapen.
We need to go back to emos and get some more pizza.
All right, so let me move my little so that I think this concludes our chat, our 2 parts here for episode 40, what dreams may come. where if you're listening to part 2 right now, there is a part 1 where we talk a little bit about the history of dreams, sleep incubation, a little bit of Greek mythology, and we talk about we walk through our dreams. And then, of course, you can come back and put them together. They're quite fun. If you're listening to this, there is a visual version, which will be available on our Creepy Confidential YouTube, where you can actually see us in our jammies and have our little plushies as we were nerding out and looking through all of our library books. So that's also very important as well. Now, we mentioned Ghouliecon in the very beginning. The details for Ghouliecon and Coven of Screams are in the episode details. We want to make sure that you are getting your tickets for those events. If you go, not if, when we see you there, because you're going to buy tickets, you can come to Creepy Confidential's table. I will be vending all weekend long. I will also be for a speaking arrangement. They haven't quite fully announced it, but it's going to happen.
We did our first channel announcement today, so it's coming.
Tickets are on sale for some of the pre-events, like the Hexcellence Awards, or if you come, you will also get to see a lovely Madam Creep, who will be on the floor there to watch people get their awards and hopefully tell the future. You will see, like I said, Creepy Confidential at the vendor table. Just kind of reading through this with our merch. Creepy will also have the Creepy Roadshow with us. I want to make sure I mention these things. We will have 2 of our Roadshow items plus a touch table where you can be a part of adding, or maybe not adding, your mojo to the Stone Tape Theory items, including an old skeleton key, vintage coffin nails, a Victorian knife rest, and a crystal Victorian doorknob. These will be available at our touch table. You can, of course, come out and check those out. Visit ghouliecon.com for the deets on tickets. You need to come. It's fun. And then, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so we got so much. But Creep I cannot wait for Creep to be there. And it's going to be so good. The touch table is going to be a hit, I hope.
I'm about to touch it. I'm about to touch everything.
Yurdi won't even look at it.
I was like, Yurdi's going to go.
It's not haunted. It's just talks about energy. So now we talked briefly, you'll hear us mention, the Creepy Confidential Library Lectures are coming to a library near you. We officially, Creepy Confidential has Paranormal 101 booked here in Columbus for April 12th. We also have a Paranormal 101 booked in Appleton, Wisconsin at the Appleton Public Library. Those tickets are on sale. You can go to creepyconfidential.com. You'll see the little big green square in the corner that says lectures, so that you can actually check that out. Hitting the road with my special case files.
I was saying, going on the road, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Already got multi-state tour, right? I'm going to be teaching the Creep Nation about some of my favorite creepy topics. So I'm excited to get those going. Now, if you have any questions, or you would like to add some information to our discussions, you can absolutely hit us up on social media, both of all of her projects. So Coven of Screams is kind of the governing body for her other endeavors, as well as Ghouliecon, and all that will be in the comments. Joanna, thank you for joining me today. This was an absolute blast.
We need to do this again.
I've never done a live recording for an episode, so this was a lot of fun. And everybody look for this episode. It'll be next month, everywhere you enjoy listening to Creepy Confidential. Until next time, I'll catch you here on Creepy Confidential.
Ta-ta for now. Bye.